Right. Yeah. So part of his I don't know if you've read In the Swarm. That book is that's like one of his books where he focuses a lot on this question of the digital sphere and all this stuff. Well, I guess maybe we can touch on this since it's sort of
Yeah.
relevant. You sort of brought it up, the anonymity question. So obviously, if you are on Twitter, you've probably seen what Jordan Peterson has, the hill he's been dying on, which is the
Hilarious.
yeah.
That's what Wendigo psychosis can do. Do not research. Do not research Wendigo psychosis. Oh,
Yeah.
funny.
Well,
Yes, it
basically,
is troll demons.
yeah, exactly. Well,
Yeah.
the thing is, this is something Han says as well.
Mhm.
So we may as well touch on it. It's like and I actually made a video on this
Yeah.
on the relationship between um anonymity and the theology of names and the theology of personhood, because um if you actually look into the history of free speech, even in America,
Mhm.
free speech was not like the equivalent. Like if we went back in time and you were just going around distributing pornographic magazines, that would not
Mhm.
have been legal. Like that would
Yeah,
not
it
have
wasn't
fallen
considered
under
free. Yeah,
that.
it wasn't
That was
considered.
not. So like free speech was you standing behind your personhood, going up in the town square, voicing your opinion, right? So your words are an expression of your being.
Right.
Now, what Han says is there is a separation between your personhood and your words and what you put out. And then it gets to a point where he calls it the shit storm, where everyone's just throwing their opinions out, no
Yeah.
consequences, whatever. And I don't know, like I personally, even though I made that video where it seems like I think the critiques apply in an ideal world. But when we're in
Yeah.
a world where um father of four could put out one wrong opinion and lose his job and all of this stuff,
Yeah.
right? You know, there has to be some level of ability to be anonymous online,
Right.
right?
Right.
Like we're presupposing you live in a perfect world. So yeah, what's your take on that? And what do you see the value in what Han and even what Jordan's saying in terms of the
Mm.
shitstorm and the trolls or whatever?
Um, I don't see the value in what Jordan Peterson says because, of
Mm,
course, he's doing it because he's subservient to a particular content network, the Daily Wire, and he's become quite influential over the thought of a certain form of a Semitic thought, and I think that he's doing it because he has essentially, let's call it, the eschatological narrative of what has driven Western civilization since World War II, which is that if you allow certain forms of speech to happen, then that certain event in the 40s will happen again.
yeah.
So that's essentially his argument. And, when he talks about, I know you're anti-Semitic trolls, and it's like, it's like, I've seen you want to provoke me into a debate. And so I think Peterson's spinning out of control. And I don't really take him seriously in terms of what he's putting out right now. But I mean, who knows if that's a weird thing between him and his daughter too, but I'm not going to get into it. It's just, there's a lot of sussy Baka stuff going on with Jordan Peterson since he came out of that Russian psychiatric institution. So, no, I think that when it comes to the serious argument, which is Byung-Chul Han's argument,
Mhm.
I think that it's hard to sort of argue with him in the sense that it's true that anonymity creates a digital swarm, but at the same time, there's a way that you can use that global brain for truly subversive and reactionary discourse that cannot traditionally be spoken of in, like hyper liberal modernity for a variety of reasons. And so I think that when it comes to the digital swarm itself, that swarm isn't blind. It can have a shape. It can
Yeah.
have it's fickle like all hell, of course, but it can have a mind to it. It can have a sort of it's like what Orson Welles described as the audience being this, destructive, chaotic maw that has passions and you can sway them like a lion tamer with a chair and a whip. And it's like the digital swarm is very much that entity. It's something like you need anons. My personal belief is that you need face lords and anons. You need someone like me and someone like you to go out there and be brave enough and to sort of even not care about being canceled or whatever, to the point where you can move discourse in ways that I think holds you to a more nuanced position. But the argument that I have from anons, and there's people like Bronze Age Pervert who distrust all quote unquote face F slurs, if you know the 4chan lingo. They say that anonymity provides you the ability to create discourse and to create ideas and to troll and to do activities that you normally wouldn't be able to, because you were sort of taking off the brakes of the conscious criticism. You're sort of sinking yourself into a total, how should I say it, into a vitality and a violence you're committing online by transgressing the norms. But someone like Byung Chul Han says, yeah, that's the problem, though.
Yeah.
Because you're just transgressing norms to the point where you're not being very productive in your anonymity. You're just essentially just transgressing all the time to the point where it becomes, you're transgressing to the point of exhaustion. Like, how many times can you make the same jokes about, that event that happened in that event, the 40s? Like, how many jokes is there you can make? How many times can you point, I don't know, like how many times can you post the race and IQ statistics? It's like, yeah, a lot of it's very funny and very transgressive and very necessary, but at the same time, it's like the sort of, I shouldn't even use this term because I know like Matt Crumps uses this term. It's like the je ne sais of trolling can only go so far to the point where that becomes a sort of like Thanatos. It's so you're so overjoyed and transgressing to the point of exhaustion. But I still think that anonymity does provide a sort of vitality because the anons move things forward. The anons, if anything, cleanse things within a holy fire of coal posting. It's like the only way to stop yourself from posting coal is if an anon trolls you from posting coal. You need the only way to effort post, the only way to go to a true spirit of like good ideas and good posting is in avoiding coal is if you have anons provoking you. But that's always a double-edged sword because sometimes the anons, can provoke you into a very non-advantageous position because it's true. They don't suffer the consequences. But, my belief is that if someone tries hard enough, they will probably want to dox you and they probably will find out who you are. And the world that we live in, unfortunately, that information has been facilitated by organs of power. And, hopefully Elon Musk, he's, cracking down on that because we do know without naming names because these people, these people are evil. A lot of these anti-you-know-what accounts, they were working with Jannies within Twitter to basically hand over information and having doxing threads and, all this very sussy stuff. And now that you have confirmation that intelligence agencies are working with, and we all knew this, but now we have proof that intelligence agencies are working with social media. Like that, that's kind of like, you know what I mean? Like we all know, but yet now that it's in our face, now that, the savior of the heaven site, Elon Musk has come along and given us these gifts,
the African savior. Yeah.
Exactly.